just such a better product now, and I hope it's
100%. Well, it's 100% going to go into bigger and better things. Like, you can see the difference in the tournament every single year. Like you were saying, it was quite slow back then, and a lot more. I just don't think it just hadn't evolutionized really yet. That's why I feel like Kenya was so good back then. Kenya was able to break that mold of pace, and then I feel like they kind of initiated the new style of game where you need to have pace along with the brutality of it. And that's why I feel like Kenya's also gone back a little bit, because everyone's adjusted to that and they've realised that is, the way to go. What I was more so referring to as well is that, like, I've seen personally from a fan's perspective, and I know you said that you only can see it as a player, like how the competition has grown, but from 2010 to 2020, it's just been, it has been enormous growth. You've seen people in USA actually starting to care about it. You've seen South Africa really blow up. You've seen Fiji obviously come onto the scene. Like, it really has grown from a fan's perspective as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, those tournaments, I suppose you'd turn up to London, Hong Kong, and there's probably one other that would be sellouts.
Maybe like Cape Town or something?
But aside from that, no, not back then, because we had Port Elizabeth, and it was held at Nelson Mandela Stadium, and it was a good tournament, but nothing compared to what it is now. Like, pretty much every leg of the tournament is close to a sellout, and it's amazing to see, and I think it's just such a good product that when it's in your country or in your city, like, it's silly not to.
Exactly. What stadium do you prefer in Sydney? Did you prefer the old Spotless, or do you prefer the one we went to today? Not today, sorry. Obviously not today. This year in Bankwest.
Bankwest was good. I did like Allianz, but I suppose I'm a little bit biased because we did have a win there. So
of course,
memories for me. I'll be interested to see what the new one looks like. But Bankwest was good as far as a spectator and as a player on the field.
Did I hear new one? Oh, the new Allianz. I thought you were referring to. I thought you were about to say like they've already announced a new stadium. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, I'm excited.
Nah.
The stadium that didn't need to get rebuilt, place. That one. It was already 80,000.
Jesse, what teams have impressed you the most over the last 10 years in their rebuild, like in their growth?
I think it's hard to go past the US. I specifically remember sitting in the stands watching the US play in my very first tournament, and I think they might have been versing France, who weren't that great at the time either, and France probably put 40, 50 points on them.
Thinking about that now, it's just like...
I remember sitting next to Snoz. Yeah, it's madness. And I remember sitting next to Snoz, and he was like, "Oh, you wait, mate. Give them probably 5 to 10 years, and they'll be top of the table." And sure enough, it became an Olympic sport, and it's just, they've just blown up. I mean, they've just got a good mix of, they got guys like Danny Barrett and Pinkelman who are just good, strong ball runners. They've got a couple of good playmakers in Madison, and got Perry and then Carlin as well, who are just amazing finishers.
From a player perspective, you mentioned what I was going to mention about it being so big and the fact that it's an Olympic sport, and you're talking about player and spectator perspective. How, as a player, do you think it affects you knowing, oh, wow, now we're being watched as a physical Olympic sport by the world, not just by our country or the country we're versing? It's become such a global sport.
I think for me, I'm not sure how it affects players differently, but for me, crowd or the viewership or whatever has never really been a factor. I try to block it out a lot of the time. Most of the time I'm just focused on what I'm doing that it's not too much of an issue for me. It doesn't make me nervous or anything like that. But to know that, people are actually starting to care about this game and it's getting exposure from outside of rugby circles, it's amazing to see for me, because it is something that will be part of me forever. I've been part of the growth in Australia of sevens, and for me, I'll always take an interest in it.